Welcome back, dear viewers, and you're still watching the Breakfast Show on Nile TV International, and we're still talking about Gaza and what's happening in Gaza and Egypt's extensive efforts, along with the Arab leaders as well, their efforts to reach a ceasefire and the solution for the genocide war in Gaza. And with us, we welcome Ambassador Ayman Musharrafa, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, and we're
good
very
morning
happy
to the audience.
We're very happy to have you with us in the Breakfast Show on Nile TV International, and talking about what's going on in Gaza and the last meeting that was held between Egypt and Iran's foreign ministers and the points they tackled in this meeting. Can you walk us through the points that were tackled in the meeting, please?
Well, from the outset of the crisis in Gaza and the Israeli aggression on the Gaza Strip, Egypt and Jordan became very concerned since we are having a common border with the Gaza Strip. Egypt and Jordan have the biggest border and the longest border with the West Bank. So, I mean, we had several conversations and several bilateral and trilateral meetings to try to broker a ceasefire and to end the crisis in Gaza, and how to send humanitarian aid to the suffering Palestinians, especially the Gaza Strip, through different means, airdrop, even the Rafah border crossing. When it was functioning, it was the biggest crossing point of humanitarian aid to Gaza. So Egypt and Jordan didn't spare any effort to try to alleviate the suffering of the Palestinians, and at the same time the Egyptian and Jordanian diplomacy were very, very alert and active in trying to explain the Palestinian problem and the suffering of the Palestinians, and try to sensibilize the international community to pressure Israel in this sense.
Yes, also during the meeting, they agreed on the necessity of halting the brutal Israeli genocide war on the Gaza Strip and the blatant violation of international law and also international humanitarian law, and reaching an immediate ceasefire and allowing humanitarian aid to reach the Strip without any obstacles. How do you see this stance affecting the stand of the European countries?
Well, Israel has breached every sense of the international law in attacking medical installation, educational installation, destroying 80% of the infrastructure of Gaza, and maybe, I mean, all of the hospitals went out of service, except a few ones. Actually, we have in all international forum, in the United Nations, in specialized agency, the Egyptian and the Jordanian diplomacy have pleaded in front of the European public opinion and the Western public opinion to try to pressure Israel to stop this genocide. And even we are a partner of the case in the ICC and the ICG. We have used every means to try to sensibilize the international community to put more pressure on Israel, but unfortunately, this effort is, despite it was very intense, it didn't bear big fruits or big results.
How do you think Egypt and Jordan are actually supporting the humanitarian situation in Gaza? Hello?
Yes. Actually, from the outset of the crisis, the Egyptian port and the Egyptian airport and Rafah border crossing, it was a symbol of hope and the limelight for the Palestinians. 80% of the humanitarian aid was delivered through the Rafah border crossing, till Israel have destroyed the Palestinian part of the Rafah border crossing, and right now the border crossing is not serviceable. It was completely destroyed. And the Jordanians too have played a very important role in airdropping, sending aid through different border crossings to help the Palestinians. Since you have more than 2 million and 2.5 million Palestinians living in the West Bank, and they have relatives too in Gaza. So as I told you, Egypt and Jordan are two countries which are directly affected and directly concerned about the Palestinian problem, and we didn't spare any effort to help to alleviate the suffering and to try to broker a ceasefire. We have been involved in several negotiations through in Cairo, in Doha, and elsewhere, trying to convince the Israeli to pass this deal of prisoner exchange, which will lead to a ceasefire.
Yes, we've actually seen a lot of meetings and a lot of calls, and every meeting and every call, everything that happens that includes Egypt, the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi stresses on the need to end this genocide war, and with actually Donald Trump taking over on the 20th of January, he's also looking forward to end this dilemma. How do you see the future of the genocide war in the coming period, especially after January 20, after Donald Trump takes over?
We do hear some talks about an imminent ceasefire coming and exchange of prisoners in the next few hours or few days. We have been hearing this for a long time, but we have that we will have a ceasefire and exchange of prisoners before the date of 20 January. I hope that that President Trump, he promised during his presidential campaign that he will end the war in the Gaza Strip and elsewhere. So I hope that he would come to reality and start real politics, because you know always that the pledges of any presidential campaign is different than when you come to power and you face real politics and you start to be an even-handed negotiator or an even-handed catalyst for peace, because the United States of America was always present in the peace negotiations since the Camp David agreement and throughout different phases of finding a solution, permanent solution for the Palestinian problem.
Yes, do you think, are there other diplomatic moves amongst the Arab countries actually to support Gaza and enhance the consensus between the concerned countries?
Well, the Saudis, they had an initiative called the International Partnership for finding a permanent solution between the Israelis and the Palestinians. This solution would include on a two-state basis, according to the 338 resolution and the 224 resolution, and to have a two-state. One of them would be a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as a capital. I do hope that any initiative from any Arab state would reach
ease the process.
A certain, not conclusion, but a certain hope for the Palestinian, because the Arab-Israeli conflict have the base of it and the essence of it is the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. And if you have a Palestinian state, I think the tension will ease in the Middle East, and we will have at that time maybe a real pacification and normalization of relation between Israel and the Arab states.
Do you think the Egyptian and Jordanian relations can actually encourage more Arab countries to take a stand or deal with the Palestinian crisis?
Definitely, Egypt and Jordan have a very good relation with all Arab states, and as I told you, during the trips and the bilateral talks between the two foreign ministers, Dr. Badr Abdel Ati and Dr. Safadi, with European and Arab counterparts, the main topic and the main priority was the Palestinian problem in two separate levels. The first level is to push the Arab states to have more humanitarian aid to the Palestinian, and the second is a political one. We have members, Arab members in Security Council. Algeria is playing a prominent role in putting the Arab case and the Palestinian case in front of the international community and the Security Council.
Actually, the public opinion is changing over time with all the violations that are taking place from in the genocide war from the Israeli territory. So, do you think the public opinion changing, and with Egypt and Jordan actually collaborating together in the relation, what message do they send to the world, and what are we waiting for?
Well, the public opinion is very aware of the humanitarian crisis, violation. You see a weekly and daily, sometimes, demonstration of solidarity with the Palestinian people throughout European capital and even in the United States of America, which was normally a staunch opponent, a strong friend of Israel. But the public opinion, I think, have limited the leverage or limited pressure on the governmental decision. Well, it's a part of the decision making, but it is a tiny leverage on the decision of the government, unfortunately.
Yes, of course. And given the long-standing Arab position on the Palestinian rights, how would you explain Egypt and Jordan's refusal to displace Palestinians from their homeland, particularly during key events, key historical moments like the 1948 Nakba, to the 1967 Six-Day War, and to also the October 7, since the October 7, 2023 genocide war?
The steady historical position of Egypt and Jordan is the refusal of displacing Palestinians or any movement of the Palestinians towards Egypt or towards Jordan or towards any Arab state. Because this move is the meaning of the liquidation and the termination of the Palestinian cause. And that's what the Israeli far right and the religious right want. They call the West Bank as Judea Samaria, and they look at the Gaza Strip as an area, a security zone. So we refuse such policy, and we do believe that the Palestinians should stand on their land, and no forced migration, no displacement, and no Arab state is willing to receive the Palestinians as a refugee, not ever again.
Of course, the refusal to displace them. And what do you think the role of Egypt and Jordan is a decision to not displace Palestinians along play in shaping Palestinian nationalism and their struggle for an independent state? Do you think, how do you think this policy helped the Palestinian cause?
Of course, always Egypt and Jordan have recognized the PFO as the sole representative of the Palestinians, and also for supporting the Palestinians in any international or multilateral forum in international organizations. And even we went to the General Assembly, have several resolutions of the General Assembly putting in line with the Palestinian unalienable right of having their own city and condemning all Israeli aggression like settlements or building any illegal facts on the ground affecting the territorial right or the historical right of the Palestinians on their own land.
Yes, and how have both Egypt and Jordan actually managed the issue of Palestinian refugees within their borders, especially that they are the two countries that are very close to Gaza? How do you think they managed this?
We refuse the issue of so-called refugees. We do not accept refugees. The Palestinians who are crossing Egyptian borders, they are just guests or coming for treatment or traveling for educational purposes. But we do not accept any Palestinian refugees. The place of the Palestinians is in their homeland. Egypt historically never hosted any Palestinian refugees camp. Most of the Palestinians who came to Egypt and lived in Egypt, they were for business purpose or educational purpose or medical purpose. But the of refugees and the concept of displacing the Palestinians is totally a taboo in the Egyptian narrative.
Yes, Ambassador Ayman Musharrafa, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you so much for giving us valuable insights regarding the genocide war in Gaza and regarding the refusal of the displacement of Palestinian civilians. Dear viewers, a short break and we'll be right back.